Welcome to the training lab. Today we're going to be discussing cable installation. I'm Jake. First off, let's go over the tools that you're going to need to complete this. 1/4-inch Allen wrench, dead blow hammer, marking utensil, and our multi-function hand tool. So the first thing we need to do after we get all of our posts and handrail up, handrail on before infill, is figure out what components we're going to need with what post. When we have an inside post mount kit in a run, we always start on that side. It just makes it a lot easier. That's how all of our documentation and installation instructions show it, and how I train it every day. Level adhesive sleeve is going to go on first with my red facing my post that I can peel off that at the end of the job and stick those on the post. Then my termination washer. These just break off. If you want to do this ahead of time, you can. It's fairly simple. That's going to go on. And then my cable stop is going to go on my cable here, and this is going to be what I crimp. If you have a little bit of cable hanging out, that's fine. We don't want a significant amount because it'll get in the way when you're trying to run our level tension kit on the other side of the post. So this is going to have two different dies. The top one says rod, the bottom one says cable. I'm going to use the cable one. I like to see where I'm crimping, so I use the flat side of this crimper, and I'm going to go basically right on the edge flush here. So I get that set up, and I'm going to crimp once. Then I will rotate my crimper or the cable. I'm going to insert my cable stop into this 5/16 hole, and then I'm going to turn my termination washer sideways and kind of fish this in. All right, once that goes in the post, it's going to fall and it's not going to come out now. So this is why I call it anchor fitting, because I'm anchored to the post here and I'm able to draw attention from my other side of my run. I'm going to pull my cable taut, and I'm going to make sure that I'm lined up with my other hole of that run. Again, if I go to one of these other ones on accident, my cut length is going to be wrong. From the inside face of the post, I'm going to add 1/2 inch, and that's going to be where I cut my cable. Our post is 2 inches from the center to here, and find the midpoint at that 1/2 inch. If I'm going to be anything, I want to be a little bit long than a little bit short. And I'm ready to go ahead and cut right there on my mark. If I'm working a long run, as I thread the cable through, I want to make sure to put my components on. Once I get to my last one, I'll grab like a piece of tape and I'll just put it around here so that those don't just fly off somewhere. Again, that's really helpful on like stairs and stuff when you make that cut. If I'm doing a run without an intermediate post, I've done this enough times that I remember to put my components on. The big thing is double, triple check that you have the correct components on before you crimp the other side of your cable. So I'm going to make sure to thread this on in the correct orientation. Again, I have red facing my post over here for that 5/16 hole, and now I need to orient this one so it's this way. I'm really confident that we're going to be able to get that to work. I'm going to go ahead and put my crimp fitting in my cable, and I'm going to go ahead and crimp this twice the same way I did my cable stop. All right, I've got the cable fully seated in there, right? I don't have it, make sure that you can't push on it any farther. Pretty much flush there with my fitting. Crimp down once. Rotate my cable, offset. Don't get too close to the bottom of the fitting, and crimp again. Now I just need to grab my tension receiver, and I need to thread it in from the back side of the post. Your fitting should not be sticking out from the post at all. It should be basically right at the inside face of that post. And I'll look at the back side, make sure I'm fairly centered, and start my tension receiver. And I'm just gonna get that finger tight, right? I'm gonna then repeat for the next 9, 10, or 11 runs, depending on your system height. So I've got 10 more for this one. I'm gonna go ahead and repeat this process every single time before I do any tensioning. Before I do my final tension, I want to go ahead and pound in my steel insert sleeve. So I've got my driver block, it has this groove on it so that I can slide that over the cable. I need to pound that and it'll make a nice snap, give it a good whack, and it'll be installed. All right, I've got my neoprene sleeve and pliers to be able to grip the cable. Just gonna go ahead and put this on here, grab my 1/4" Allen wrench, grip it. I find the closer to the post, the better. And then I generally use the long end of my 1/4" Allen to start. We don't want to tension any of these fully until all of our cables are up, and we want to start at a certain spot. When we start doing our final tension, we want to start in the middle of our post, and we're going to move out from there, slightly turning them every once in a while until I get to the outsides. Once I do, the middle cables are probably a little bit loose. If you over tension at the beginning, it's going to take you a really long time to do this. We've got our fixed point here with the handrail, and here the most likely spot for that post to bow is going to be in the middle here, which is why it takes more tension in the middle than it does on the outside ends. So yeah, just make sure you're finger tight, and then just don't go too crazy when you're starting off to tension in the middle. Once everything is consistent and it's not saggy, it's going to be a feel type of thing, but there's not any code that has like a torque spec on this for us, so it's just by feel. Thanks for joining us, and good luck on your project.